Hello everybody, my name is Jordan Arell. Welcome back to another episode of Intactivist of the Week. And I'm very excited for today's episode. My Intactivist of the Week I have chosen is a flower child based out of Boulder. She loves France and dancing. She has an exquisite sense of hospitality. She's a fantastic cook, deeply empathic, sharp wit, and great sense of humor. She is a great friend and inspiration. Her name is Gillian Longley. So, Gillian, I first met her when she contacted me over Facebook. In Facebook Messenger, she sent this long, beautiful message about how she saw me protesting in Boulder, and it was so great to see that, there's people doing this work, and wanted to invite me to have lunch or coffee, and invite me to an Intactivist meeting in Conifer, down a couple hours if I wanted to carpool with her. I actually ended up driving myself so I could practice my first podcast intro on the way last year, and met her there, met everyone at Colorado ABC, hit it off, and have been great friends ever since. Gillian's kind of like my Intactivist mom. Sometimes I think of her as like the Marilyn Milos of Colorado. She's amazing. By the way, the first time I actually heard of Marilyn Milos and so many other great Intactivists was from Gillian. I always carpool with her to our meetings in Denver from Boulder, and she tells me about all the Intactivist lore, about all these different things about circumcision and foreskin and intactivism that I never would have learned otherwise. She was kind of my informal Intactivist education, and I'm so grateful to her for that, because I never would have learned all of that stuff and connected with all the people I have if it hadn't been for Gillian. She is the mastermind behind the Doctors Opposing Circumcision Current website, which is amazing. It's probably the best informational resource about circumcision and about the medical side of it, about the, all of the details of all the studies. If I ever need to know anything about circumcision, I'll ask Gillian, because she spent years creating this beautiful, wonderful website that informs doctors about everything they could ever need to know about circumcision and the foreskin. She was Intactivist of the Month for Intact America, where she also served as a member of the board of health professionals. She's been on Eliungar Sargon's podcast, The Cut. She's also been featured in American Circumcision. She spoke at the American Circumcision screening on conscientious objection, where she also hosted Brandon Murata and connected me with him. That's how I met him, was through Gillian. She's always connecting me to different Intactivists and saying, oh, you should meet this person, and do you think of talking to this person, and maybe you should meet this person. And it's like, oh my God, Gillian, I can't even keep up with all these people. They're great, but wow. She knows everybody, and she's constantly trying to connect people, make these connections happen, which is, the basis of so much great Intactivism, is Intactivists inspiring and supporting each other. So good job on that. Gillian, the way that she got involved in Intactivism, basically she had 2 sons and she left them intact. She's, just had this intuitive feeling. She actually went through nursing school, and in that process, witnessed several circumcisions, was just gut level, knew it was wrong. She's, as I said, very empathic. And, actually when she first started being a nurse, she didn't really know much about circumcision, and kind of tried to, just participate in helping out if she had to, be a team player. And it wasn't until her 15-year-old son actually asked, Mom, I want to get circumcised, that she had to say, actually, son, I don't know if that's a great idea. She went and researched it, learned everything that we now know about circumcision and how awful it is. And because of this, she was able to inform her son, and, stay strong and say, you're not getting circumcised. Here's all of the details of what the foreskin is, why it's useful, why it's important. And, that's also kind of one thing I learned from Gillian, among many things, was, if a child wants to be circumcised, then you need to really educate them and ask them sort of where they're coming from and figure that out, and really give them information and be strong. And that's kind of what inspired my video, how to explain circumcision to your intact son, video I recently did. So Gillian then worked in the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit in a newborn nursery and was around circumcision basically 24/7, which, is really, really, not 24/7, that's an exaggeration, but a lot of the time, which is, for someone who knows about this issue, pretty horrific, especially for someone as empathic as her. And so, she's found ways to conscientiously object to this, to say, I'm not going to participate, and at risk of her job, by the way. Amazing. She's very courageous in that way, and, tries to inform parents the best that she can. And she's actually retired from nursing now, but during her time there, she's probably informed many, many, many parents, as well as doctors and other nurses, to try to help spread this information. That's one thing I love about Gillian that she taught me is, there's really doctors and nurses are as misinformed about this and uninformed about it as everybody else, and they really just need that education. We need to spread this information to those doctors and nurses. Even more, it's even more important than the parents, of course. And so that's something that she's really passionate and great at. And, basically, her way of doing that is, listening. So doctors are taught that it's the parent's choice, and that there's no ethics really involved in it. And Gillian understands the ethics very, very well. And so what she'll do, and what she taught me, is, if you ask someone a question, why are you getting him circumcised, or have you considered not circumcising, are two great questions. And you can sort of see where that person is coming from. And then you can, start to provide this other information of why you don't actually need to circumcise, from the point of view that they're coming from. And so that's so, so important, listening, being able to hear out the concerns of the parents, and then respond with, something that makes sense to them or something that will address those concerns very directly. Another thing about Gillian that's, I don't know if I should share this because I love carpooling with her, and I think I actually go sort of backwards to get to her house so that I can carpool with her from Boulder to Denver. But she's such a great listener. She always brings out the best in me. She kind of brings out the best in everyone. She's so encouraging. Whenever I have all these ideas flying through my mind, she just listens and she encourages me and says, that's awesome. You're doing a great job. And she's so encouraging. Like I said, she's always connecting Intactivists and encouraging them. And she's like a great mom. I feel so blessed to have her caring presence, and to be able to be around that, because it's really helped me in a lot of ways. You wouldn't know it from talking with Gillian because she's very humble, but she's done a lot of great things. She's the leader of Colorado Advocates for Body Integrity and has been for many, many years. In 2012, they got circumcision removed from Medicaid in Colorado, which is a pretty impressive feat. Took a lot of lobbying, took a lot of aggressive, going down and knocking on senators' doors and figuring out the whole system of how politics work. And it's great. We need more people, dedicated to making changes and doing whatever it takes. She also, basically leads the group in organizing protests, or not protests, but more so gentle, informational handout sessions. What would you call it? Going to basically gay pride, going to People's Fair, handing out information to people, talking to people about this, spreading our message, gently informing people, basically, and which is so, so needed. And I truly think that's, one of the most important and best paths to success. Gillian has just a really strong, gentle, and very intelligent voice in general. If there's one flaw it might be something that I would encourage anybody to put on their resume as a flaw, which is that she's very perfectionistic and she wants to do perfect, amazing job at everything she does, and she does, and her mind is like a steel trap, and it's pretty crazy how much she knows and keeps track of. But yeah, it's like she did a presentation on the ethics of neonatal circumcision, and it was an amazing presentation. She goes through one of the things main things she goes through is the 4 main ethical standards that circumcision should be adhering to, and it doesn't adhere to any of them, of course. She goes through a 12-point scale of parent information handouts, and says, like, piece by piece. This was her master's thesis, by the way. She goes piece by piece through each thing and says, does this parent information handout answer this question about circumcision? Does it answer this question? Does it answer this question? And she's analyzed all these different handouts and can go into detail of saying, like, which ones really inform parents about what they need to know about circumcision. And surprise, surprise, a lot of the American ones aren't great. A lot of the international ones are better. A lot of the anti-circumcision ones, inform very much in detail about the alternative to circumcision, not circumcising. And it's a great analysis. I will link that talk below, the medical ethics talk, where she goes in. Those are just a couple of things, but she goes into all the details of every single angle of medical ethics you can think of. And it's just so powerful. It's so beautiful. Someone who's this dedicated and this intelligent, who offers so much insight, so much care to this. And Gillian is really, like I said, she's an incredible inspiration to me. She's been an incredible help to me. And yeah, I just wanted to make this Intactivist of the Week for her, because she's a force in the movement that I think doesn't get enough credit for some very tireless and often thankless work. And she really deserves to have a party or something thrown for her. I don't know. She's a fantastic. Everybody at Colorado Advocates for Body Integrity and Children's Rights loves her. So thank you from all of us. Thank you for everyone in Intactivism for the amazing services you've done for us. Thank you for making a difference, for changing the world, Gillian. And yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to say I have a lot of love for you, and I appreciate the love that you give all of us. So, yeah, I'll link James Loewen's talk below, or James Loewen's interview with her below. That was a great sort of piece I took a few things from, as well as her talk on the ethics of neonatal circumcision. If you guys are curious and want to learn more about Gillian and the wonderful work she has done. So yeah, that's it for today. Sorry, I know that was a lot to get through, because Gillian's done a lot of amazing stuff. And so thank you again, Gillian. That's it for this week's Intactivist of the Week, and I will talk to you all again tomorrow.